So just sharing some 6 points on menopause and contraception today. So the number one question that I've had is, if I'm taking contraception, will this interfere with me going into perimenopause or menopause? Look, contraception is not going to delay that natural process that's going to come to you. But if you are taking contraception, it might mask those symptoms that you would get entering perimenopause or menopause. So you may be led a little bit astray because here you are taking your contraceptive. It is creating synthetic periods. So it's really, there's quite a good chance that it might actually be masking those symptoms that you would otherwise get had you not be on that contraceptive. So you may not get those earlier signs. Question number 2 that I was asked, should I continue taking contraception when I feel that I'm entering perimenopause and menopause? Look, fertility does start to decline in our mid-30s, but for as long as we are having periods, that means that our body is producing, or it is ovulating, so we're producing eggs. May not be as many eggs as we would produce when we were younger, but there is still that element of falling pregnant. So I'm just wondering, if you're 50 and you're in perimenopause, is that something that you are wanting to have? My goodness, I had my last child when I was in my early 30s. I couldn't imagine having a child in my 50s. Oh my gosh. So research does show that, yes, continue taking your contraceptive whilst you are traveling through these stages. Now, question number 3 was, is a hormone replacement therapy, also known as HRT, is that a form of contraceptive? Short answer is no. So a HRT, so what's happening with your, think about normal menstrual cycles where we've got your estrogen and progesterone levels of hormones floating around. As you are getting into your perimenopause and your menopause, those hormone levels are both decreasing, but they're still there. Now in HRTs, there's only a slight level of hormone, so they can't really be considered to be a contraceptive. So research would say, no, don't treat a HRT as a contraceptive unless it is combined with some other contraceptive. Say if you have a Mariner coil, you can get a Mariner plus estrogen. So that in a sense is a contraceptive plus a hormone replacement combined. So if you're taking something that is combined, well then you wouldn't need to take extra contraception. But if you are just taking your HRT, your hormone replacement therapy, then perhaps some sort of other barrier to protect you against falling pregnant. So for example, the old-fashioned condom or something else that would reduce the risk of you falling pregnant, or the old-fashioned contraceptive pill, for example. Question number 4 was, how long should I be taking contraceptive pills for? How do I know when to stop? So look, generally you'll be entering your menopause, say in your 50s, around about the mid-50s. So again, research. Now again, this is purely based on my personal experience and any research that I have done. I am not a medical professional, so we need to take this information just with the fact that it's based on research that I have read. So generally speaking, if you are, say, in the menopause phase under your 50s, then it would be considered viable for you to keep taking a contraceptive for 2 years after that. So if your last period, the last period that you had, so you've served your menopausal phase, you've had your last period and you're under 50, then it would be conceivable to continue taking a contraceptive for about 2 years. If your last period that you've experienced is, and you're over 50, then probably for about 1 year, taking those extra precautions. That can be validated by a doctor. Of course, you're going to maybe be in contact with a GP, so get some thoughts on what the GP says around that. So, last period, under 50 years old, 2 years contraceptive, just to play it safe. And we could not be talking about like necessarily medication putting into your body, Mariner, the old-fashioned condom, just making sure you're taking those precautions. If you're over 50 and you have had your last period, so you're getting a little bit closer where it's less likely, maybe taking those precautions for a year. Question number 5 was, taking contraception, how will I know if I'm in the peri-menopause phase or menopause phase if I am taking that contraception? Well, how will I know? So you can have blood tests. They sometimes may not be so accurate because you've got that hormone level which is adjusting through that perimenopause and menopause, so you can have a blood test. But if you are taking forms of contraception, you probably want to have that out of your system for a good 6 weeks before you have that blood test. So that would mean that you might have to take, have the old-fashioned forms of contraception during that 6 weeks, just while you're still playing it safe, but just so you're getting all of those hormones out of your system before you have that blood test to see maybe what your hormone levels are and what phase you may be at with the perimenopause and menopause. Last question I've been asked. Now this is number 6. Okay, so what age should I stop taking contraception? Well, look, it's up to debate. So as I said, probably around your mid-50s, you're going to be looking at having travelled through that menopause, or at least your perimenopausal phase. Before I spoke about playing it safe and having a period of taking extra precautions even after you've had your last period for 1 to 2 years, because at the end of the day, they will say that in your mid-50s, pregnancy is rare, but if you want to totally rule it out, take it out of the picture, pregnancy can happen. It's not 100% foolproof. If you're still ovulating, if you're still having a period, even though they're random, heavy, light, whatever, your body is still producing maybe a low number of eggs, but still, could they be fertilized? So it depends how much you want to run that risk, I guess. So I would say check in with your doctor, and then if you're really worried, if you really want to know what phase you're in, you can talk about having a blood test for hormone levels, and have that discussion about contraception and how long should you be taking those different forms of, so you can avoid that pregnancy. Alrighty, I hope that has beaten some curiosity around menopause and contraception. Alrighty, my name is Karen Thompson. I am your mind body balancing coach.